Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deliz Palenko. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join the Office of Graduate Admissions for today's Hot Topic webinar, the importance of cybersecurity in the financial industry. First, I will tell you a little bit about the purpose of today's event, introduce the Office of Graduate Admissions representatives who are here with us today, and finally hand things off to our speaker, Dr. Suman Kalia, to facilitate this valuable discussion. I invite you to take part in this conversation by writing in the chat throughout the event, submitting questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and sticking around at the end to see those questions answered. Tonight's webinar invites prospective students to engage with faculty about trending topics. The event gives you the opportunity to learn more about an education and career opportunities in the field of cybersecurity, where professionals are contributing to their fields, in this case, with contributions to the financial industry. To introduce the Office of Graduate Admissions, my name is Deliz Blanco, and like I said, I'm a graduate admissions recruiter here at St. Peter's University. And we have Christy here with us as well, who is our Senior Assistant Director of International Admissions. So for our international students, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat for us, as well as our domestic students. We're both here to answer any admissions related questions that you may have. So feel free to not just include questions in the Q&A function for the discussion, but for any admissions related questions. So now for our speaker this afternoon, with an MBA in finance, an MS in computer science, and a doctor in professional studies, Dr. Suman Kalia serves St. Peter's University as an assistant professor of computer science and cybersecurity sciences. Without further delay, Dr. Suman Kalia.
Thanks, Douglas. Hello, welcome everybody. So we're going to talk about the importance of Delays. Is my sound coming loud and clear? I just want to make sure that, okay, everybody can hear me. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be talking about the importance of cybersecurity in the finance sector. But before I start the presentation, I just want to talk about a little bit about finance sector and how important it is. Prior to coming to St. Peter's University 3 years back, I was an executive director working for JP Morgan Chase Manhattan Bank, the largest bank. And I just want to set up a perspective. Where does the banking, the government sit together? And lately we hear Russia is playing big time games. So let me just show you who are the partners and how big are they. The gross domestic product of the United States of America, or products, all services for 1 year, cost of that one is $21 trillion. That is GDP of United States of America. GDP of England, Great Britain, is $19 trillion. GDP of Russia is $1.4 trillion. That means that our economy is almost 14 times as big as Russia's economy is. I just want to make sure you understand how big is the Russian player. Small. Now, JP Morgan is in the financial sector. They transact through their systems on a daily basis $6 trillion of funds transfer. $6 trillion. That means that gross domestic product of United States of America, 1 year's GDP, passes through the JP Morgan systems twice a week. The GDP of Russia 4 times a day. That's small. And you can understand the importance of JP Morgan financial sector. How big is it? The question now is, if you look at the size of JP Morgan, that's $6 trillion going through the economy on a daily basis. United States, $21 trillion economy. Russia, $1.4 trillion. If you had to rob, who would you rob? A Russian bank or an American bank? So you got the idea where we fit into the picture. That's one picture I wanted to paint in your head. The second thing I wanted to talk about, just imagine if there was a Back to Future number 4, and you were able to bring somebody from 1950, somebody living in 1950, and bring him in today's world, and you just hand them over your iPhone and tell them that this device, they can read every single text written by mankind available to them on this device. They can talk face to face with anybody in the world. They can go in and sell stocks, buy stocks. They can control their banking. They could do all their banking right through here, deposit checks, cash checks, transfer money. They could use it for GPS. They could record conversation. They can take pictures and send it to friends through the messages. And by the way, you can use it for making a phone call as well. How do you think they're going to feel? The reason I'm giving that example is there because I'm going to use later on. Technology has come a long way. 1950 to today, forget about that one. In 9/11, during 9/11, while working as an infrastructure manager, head of the Treasury Services Infrastructure Division, I was managing 19 disaster contingency sites throughout JP Morgan, 19. And I was using a flip phone, spent $800 on that one. And that flip phone, all I could do was make phone calls or receive phone calls and see a couple text messages, 80 characters, 140 characters long. So technology-wise, we have come a long way. Unless there's a question, then I'm going to start the presentation. D-Liz, help me to make sure that I am able to share the screen, and then we'll take it from there.
Understood. And Ron Senor actually said hi. What's up to Alberto?
Okay.
But right now, no other questions.
Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about the importance of cybersecurity in financial sector.
Just switch to presenter view, sorry.
Pardon me?
The display settings to presenter view.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, so what is included in the financial sector? Banks, credit unions, credit card companies, investment firms, Charles Schwab, all these people are part of the financial sector. So what makes the financial sector to be attractive to the cyber criminals? Good question. That's actually why we are here today. What makes them go to rob the bank, go to break into JP Morgan or any of the financial sector companies in there? First of all, the banks have a personal identifiable information, people's name, customers' names, home addresses, social security number, banking details, phone numbers, email addresses, income information, and above all, that's where the money is. So that's why the banking sector, the financial sector is a big target for the criminals. That's where they want to break in. How vulnerable, what I've done is, guys, that I have put questions answers. Rather than you asking the questions, I thought of the questions which may be coming from your mind. So I recorded those questions. Now, these are not all of them questions in this. What I'm going to do is, after I finish the presentation, I'm going to ask you questions. If there's something on your mind, we'll answer that. But right now, these are some of the questions which I thought of, and I'll talk about them. How vulnerable is financial sector to the cyber criminals, cyber activities? Well, let's talk about it. If you look at it, in 2020, phishing report, around 31% of the banking employees failed to pass a phishing test. That means there are some people who click on anything. If the message says, click here to get hacked, they click it. So that means that 31% of the people really didn't know that there's a trap being set up for them. 71% of the financial services attacks are actually financial motivated. People are attacking because they want to rob money, because they want to transfer money from somebody else's account to their account. 1 out of every 4 malware attacks are targeted on financial service firms, leading to obviously they are on the forefront getting attacked. According to Optiv and Carbon Black, 47% of the financial firms will have a threat hunting team established in 2019. So that means that the companies will have to start looking for who is attacking them and why are they attacking them. How do these cyber attacks impact the financial sector? We said that financial sector is a target, that it's very important. How is it impacting the financial sector? Well, first of all, if you look into it, in 2020, the average business cost of a cyber attack, every time you get a cyber attack, it costs the company $3.86 million. And it takes about 200 days to detect the breach that somebody tried to attack you. It takes sometimes 200 days. And plus it costs you $3.86 million. That's the average cost. It's projected that cyber attacks will hit $6 trillion by the end of this year. $6 trillion, 4 times the GDP of Russia. Cybersecurity spending is estimated to exceed $1 trillion by the end of this year, right? 68% of the business leaders felt the risk of the cyber attack increasing. They're feeling that cyber attacks are happening more often and they could be victimized any second. A majority of the cyber attacks are motivated by financial gain, nearly 86%, right? The second leading motivator of the cyber attacks includes espionage, state-sponsored attacks, right? Delius, let me ask you a question. Is there any feedback coming in? Does anybody have a question? Are we doing okay with the speed-wise? If people want me to slow it down or anything like that?
I think we're okay, but we do have one question
Okay,
that just popped up. It says, what problems can a cybersecurity startup solve for the financial sector? Let's assume we only have one engineer and no funding to start. Where can we help build systems or services that can scale without huge initial investments?
So you want me to answer the questions as we go along or at the end?
However you'd like to. If you think that something that you're about to cover might help answer that, or if you want to answer it later, by all means, you can leave it until the end.
Let's take it at the end. That's a good question. The question is that if it depends on the size of the financial company, how big is the company? If they have only one guy managing the whole thing in there, then somebody needs to go and talk to the risk manager and they say, look, we need some more help in there, because sometimes those are the people who become easy target. If you feel that you're not a target, somebody may be looking at it. So I'll come and address that issue in there at the end. It's a good question. Hold on let's put it on the parking lot and I will address it at length at that one.
Sounds good.
So how has the financial sector reacted to cyber attack barrage? And I think this will probably help a little bit. What has happened is that financial sector, as they get attacked, they turn towards technology. They feel that technology is the solution to everything in there. They go start investing in the big data. They are getting more and more their feed from social media. They are going into consumer databases. They are getting news feed connected to their systems in there. So they are getting, their dependency on technology is getting more and more. And that's part of their problem as well. And I want to address that question in there, and I'll put everything together and I'll address that one, that how he should go in and address the issue, particularly pertaining to his company. How do the financial sector cyber problems make up, right? How do they build up? So let's look into that. So financial sector needs more qualified cybersecurity professionals. So he needs to know, the question just came in there, that they need some more people. If the usage of technology is going up, the amount of applications they're supporting is going up, so if their usage is getting bigger and bigger, and they were working on with one person 10 years back or 5 years back, they are to look into and start providing enough pressure to the company management. Remember, every time you get an attack, it costs you $3.86 million. It makes a lot more sense to hire more people than losing money on those cyber attacks. Financial sector is a high profile target. That means what? That means the company has to be more vigilant, right? So depending on what your company does, how much money are you handling, it is more important to you to be vigilant about the cyber attacks. Also remember that, as I said early on, that the financial sector manages the PII data, personal identifiable information, like social security numbers, name, address, incomes, credit card statements, all that stuff in there. That means that government is watching you. The agencies who are set aside to monitor the banking, they are monitoring you. They want to make sure that you are managing your risk properly. If you're not managing your risk properly, they'll come like a ton of bricks on you. We'll talk more on that. With pressure from these regulatory agencies, financial firms are motivated to provide more significant investment to improve their cybersecurity preparedness. It looks like the guy who just asked the question, he has seen my slides after time, because everything is relevant to what he just said. There is a pressure from the regulatory agencies to make sure that you are getting ready for, you're ready for any type of cyber attacks. Has any financial company been cyber attacked more than once? People usually think, well, I've been attacked once, so who cares? Nobody's gonna care about me. Not true. From 2009 to 2019, some of the most recognizable names, financial sector, have been attacked multiple number of times. For example, American Express and SunTrust Bank, Florida Bank, has been breached 5 times. 5 times. Capital One and Discover were breached 4 times. I just want to let you know, in Capital One case, not only people who are the current customers of Capital One, they were breached, but people who had applied for credit card, they also, their information was also breached. So be aware of that one. So be aware of the fact that if you're attacked once, does not mean that going forward you're forgiven. No, they may be, you may be an easy target and people may be reaching out to you and touching you time and again. Now, we saw that technology, people want to use the latest and the greatest. They say, oh, you know, this is a new tool, let me use it. Problem is that all that technology is fragmented, disunited. They are not necessarily fitting in like hand in a glove. So what happens if you keep using the technology, you know, the advancement in internet is requiring more and more complex technology. People are using artificial intelligence, people are using new technology, new tools, people are using new monitoring tools and new intruder detection systems in there. Similarly, people are putting more and more mobile applications. You know, people are now able to go and do banking on your iPhone, on your smartphone. People are able to buy stocks, sell stocks on the phone. While it's very convenient for you, it may not be very convenient for the bank, and we'll discuss more on that. Similarly, more and more payments are being made. Instant payments are being made, right? I'll talk about instant payments in a second more. So all these things which we talked about, the advancement in the internet banking, more and more mobile applications, more and more instant payments taking place, they all are requiring new technology. When you are taking a new technology and putting it on your own computers, along with your legacy applications, the old applications which were providing your support all along, now it becomes a safe haven for the cyber attackers to attack you, because they now can use the newer technology to attack your old legacy computers, the legacy technology, because they are just not set up to handle the new vulnerabilities which are being posed. Old technology simply, you know, you can't expect taking 1947 Chevy and make it run 100 miles an hour. It's going to run at 25 miles an hour because that was a fast speed then. So older technology or legacy technology does not necessarily fit into the new technology. And so it creates holes for you. Is there, with all that thing happened, we saw recently that Colonial Pipeline was attacked. We were out of gas for 2 weeks. The pipeline was shut down. And then President Biden was all over the place. The Congress was making noise. There was a lot of media coverage on that one. Is there such support for the banking industry? Good question. Let's answer that. Banks have fewer assurances from the federal government. That means the banks, government is not helping them. Government is monitoring them, right? There's a U.S. Department of Treasury has a financial stability oversight council. Their job is to look for the banks which are not being careful, which are being attacked. If you are being attacked by the through the cyber attacks, they come onto you that you're not ready for it, yet that you're not protecting yourself. That causes a lot of problems. Not only you're being attacked by the outsiders, now the government is watching you and they are putting up pressure on you. So again, the question earlier which came in, how should you go about it, before the Treasury Department comes onto you, before the other government agencies come and put some pressure on you, you need to be ready for it. You need to make sure that you're protecting yourself. That may require new technology, that may require more people in there. And that's where St. Peter's University can be very helpful as well. That's what we do, we train people. And we're gonna discuss more on that. Any additional questions coming in, Delis? Any feedback?
Yes, one more. It says, thank you. Hearing about regulatory requirements was interesting. Where can I find regulatory audits that companies have to comply with on the cybersecurity side? Maybe it is a service we can offer to them.
Right. So wait a minute. So the person who's asking that question, is he working for the financial sector, or is he looking into that where can he get regulatory assistance?
Ron, feel free to put the answer to that question in the chat if you'd like. Says, I am a cybersecurity startup looking to offer assistance and a St. Peter's MS cyber grad.
Okay, so the best thing to start with is there's an agency called PCI. This is actually a special interest group. All people who are using credit cards, they have to be member of that. Anytime when you go into a restaurant and you give your credit card, the person who takes your credit card has to be registered, has to be certified before he can go in, log in and put the information in there. So be part of that one, because they actually will provide you a lot more information on the regulatory agencies. You could go into the Treasury Financial Stability Oversight Council. They have a lot of those informations in there. There is reach out to me later on in there. Being a part of the bank in there, I can connect you with some of the people in the banking industry. There's a tremendous amount of oversight in there. I think that it would be very interesting if you're interested in. We can talk about that one, big time. But the government has, if you go on to the Treasury Financial Stability Oversight Council, they will have all that information available to them. So as the cyber attacks increase, again, to Ron's point, the regulators are taking notice, taking measures to increase the pressure on the financial industry to find solutions. Regulatory and compliance requirements are a significant challenge for the financial sector. So, Ron, there's definitely an opportunity to be an intermediate between smaller banks. And the single most important reason that consumers trust the industry with their money. Part of the reason, so if you look into it, the banks, your deposits are insured by the FDIC. That means if you deposit money in the bank and for some reason the bank goes under or something happens, you are insured by the government, but the bank is not insured. So this is part of the reason people feel a lot more comfortable putting money in the banks, because they know that to a certain point in time, the regulators, the government is protecting them. Banks don't have the same protection. What makes cybersecurity challenging within the financial sector? If you haven't got it, so number one, that's where the money is. Who's you gonna rob? The Russian bank or the American bank? Needless to say, the money is in American banks, in Japanese banks. Nothing is more appealing to a criminal than to transfer money from somebody else's account to their account. This is the fastest way to do internet banking, all that high technology. That does wonders. If you are able to break into system, are able to tap into funds transfer, are able to use as a person, break into a relationship with somebody insider, you could do that. And people do that. And this is one of the things I want to talk about a little later on, that what are the weaknesses? Do supply chain complicate cyber attack concerns to the financial sector? The answer is yes. First of all, what is supply chains? Supply chains are companies which are helping you to perform your business. If you look into, when you live in a house, we have a lot of people who are helping us. It's a garbage, people pick up the garbage, there are postmen, there's a people who are delivering your packages, there are people who come in and do the cleaning, provide, grass cutting services. These are all your circle. These are all people who are providing vendor services. Similarly, the financial industry, bank, is an amalgamation of multiple business partners. They depend on a lot of people for services. Yeah, they provide banking service, they provide financial services, but they depend on a lot of other partners. They depend on a lot of other companies to help them to perform their business. Problem we have is that those third parties, you may be very good, all set, prepped up for cybersecurity. They may not be. So a lot of cyber attack companies come through those third-party vendors, supply chain, to come through them to attack you. It's like there's a bank, has a great building, wonderful in there, but the next door apartment is very weak walls in there. Somebody goes into that apartment and comes through there into the bank premises. So your vendors, they could be problematic for you. So not only you have to protect yourself, but you have to make sure how good are your vendors. Next is, are cashless transactions a cybersecurity challenge to the financial sector? First of all, what is cashless transactions? So the cashless transactions are, if you look into it, all day we are doing what? We go into the online to the system, transfer money from my account to somebody else's account, pay bills. There's hardly any cash. In the olden times, you would go to the bank, take cash, then pay bill one, then pay bill two, then pay here, then pay there. These days, there's hardly any cash transactions. Most of the transactions are cashless, right? Now, does that cause an issue with the company? Of course it does. How does it cause an issue? If you look into it, more and more consumers are demanding cashless and financial services where there's hardly any cash involved in there. That means that they are looking for applications which help them to do these transactions. They want their transaction to be quicker, faster, and secure. But just imagine everything you're doing on your iPhone, somebody is providing that support on behind from the bank side. It becomes harder and harder for the bank to continue providing support to these fast in front end applications in there. So just imagine where people were going in and making one transaction, where they were going to the bank to draw $500 and then pay 10 customers. Now they are producing 10 transactions on their system through the mobile computing directly. So that adds a lot of volume. That means there's more technology required for people to do that. So this is creating a challenge for the financial services companies, right? To make sure that they continue providing that, they will have to go in and keep up with the technology. They need to keep spending money on the technology. So that means you need more professionals, more people who are into technology, more people who are into cybersecurity, more awareness in there. That's where St. Peter's University can be very helpful. Our master's program, if people have questions in there, Professor Lakawa and I both are here. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions. But St. Peter's University masters here would be a wonderful thing, because we're going to go and touch all aspects of cybersecurity. What is the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain for financial services? What is the weakest link? Because weakest link is the actual strength of the chain. So the weakest link is human behavior. There's a course we teach in the undergrad, Insider's Threat. And we find out that big part of the problem, almost 1/3 of the problems for the financial sector, for the business world, for the banking industry, or for the industry in general, is coming from the insiders, people who knowingly to show jealousy to their players, other members, to jealousy or problems with their senior management in there. They help to reach out to the outside agency, help to go to the cyber attackers, or the cyber attackers reach out to them because these people are disgruntled, right? So those people are providing inroads to cyber criminals in there. So social engineering is a big problem. As remember the first slide I showed you, that how 70% of the finance people working in the companies, they are just not ready. They really don't know when they're being attacked or who's coming in to attack it. These days, if you look into it, a lot of times you may have seen it, that these days, the email comes in with your bank logo, with your bank account number, with all the details in there. Personally, it's very hard to distinguish it from a real bank from this fake bank. The cyber attackers are becoming a lot more intelligent. You really have to get better and better. That when are you being spear phished? When is somebody making a direct attack on you? Phishing emails have, and for decades now, opened up opportunity for downloading the malwares. Social media platforms are being used with increased frequency as a tool of choice to go in and to break into corporations. So what these people do, the cyber criminal do, is that they build a relationship with the existing employees. If you look into Target, they compromised about 40 credit, they downloaded about 40 million credit cards from Target. What did they do? They actually went into the people who were providing heating services, heating and air conditioning services, and broke into their computer, and through their computer, they broke into Target. So what people do is that they build a relationship with the existing employees, and through them they scam, or they get either they force upon them, blackmail them to get more information in there until they get appropriate access, and that's how they traverse it through the corporate networks to get into where they want to go. How can St. Peter's University prepare you? Well, we have a master's program. We actually touch each and we have a few more slides. I'm going to talk about it, but our master's program is perfectly geared into that. We not only tell you where is the primary source of problems. We have a course, risk management in the information industry, where most of the problems exist in the network, in the database, in the software development, in the web browsers, in the contingency planning. Where are the loopholes? What the cyber people are looking at? We have those courses. We have hackers tools. We talk about how do you, before anybody breaks into your network, we will teach you what kind of tools they use. We prepare you for those tools in there. We teach you forensic analysis. If you are attacked, how do you find out? As I said earlier on my first slide, it takes 200 days to find out that you were attacked. Why should it take that long? We help you to do the forensic analysis, right? We have contingency planning course, which tells you how do you build your disaster recovery or incident management or business continuity or risk resilient team or function. So we have multiple courses, and we touch each and every aspect of technology to help you, to prepare you for the cybersecurity preparedness for the corporation. Let's continue. So the financial structure.
I just wanted to interrupt for one moment. I just wanted to give you a 10-minute warning for Q&A.
Okay, thank you. I'm all at the end. The financial industry is struggling to keep pace with the technology innovation. And if you are working to provide a business, you can't be updating these information people all the time. Perfect time to go into St. Peter's University, perfect partner to partner with us and get ready. Legacy systems are very costly to maintain. You want to be going with the newer technology, but you want to maintain your systems in there. We can help you. How do you maintain, how do you help yourself to find out where the holes are? It will help you to find out how do you find the vulnerabilities and how do you address those vulnerabilities. Hackers benefit from the technologies. It makes easier for them. So we will help you to find out where the vulnerabilities are. How do you find out here is a vulnerability? You know, why do you go to the doctor? You go to the doctor to find out what the problem is, what is your sickness, and then he gives you a prescription. That's what we are doing in St. Peter's. We are telling you, helping you to find out where would the weaknesses be in each aspect of the technology, and you can use it. Now, vulnerabilities could be in your computer system, that could be in your networks, that could be in your processes and procedures. We touch basically each aspect of it. There will nearly be 3.5 million open cybersecurity jobs waiting to be filled this year. So there are opportunities, tremendous opportunities. I think I am at the end. So now let's answer that question one. The question one was, if you have only 1 or 2 people in there, how do you go and prepare for yourself? One of the best things to do is that you need to, if you understand your business, you need to identify where the weaknesses are, what is at risk. You know, now that you have some of the figures here, that if you are attacked, the cost, one attack could cost you $3.86 million. Maybe you need to do some cost benefit analysis and tell the management how to go about it. Again, we do talk about cost benefit analysis in the class as well. As part of the risk management, we teach that. So you need to go in and tell them where are the weaknesses, that how you need some more manpower or more technology or more horsepower to address that. Any other questions, Delis?
Not right now, but everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat function, or please feel free to use the Q&A function that is at the bottom of your screen. You do have the opportunity to to ask questions anonymously if you prefer, but please feel free to ask any questions that come up. Again, our admissions individuals are here with us for the international admissions as well as domestic. So if you have any questions related to admissions, the program, what you can expect from your classes, please feel free to let us know. Dr. Alberto Lacava, the program director, is also here with us. So please, this is the best opportunity you have to ask any questions that come up.
So we by the way, Professor Lacava also teaches the blockchain, which is very hard. That's part of the cyber program also. So those who are interested in Bitcoins and blockchain, that's definitely part of the cyber program. Delis, I think there's a question coming in. I can see some flashing.
Yes, there's in the chat, admissions. Oh, Christy already answered it. They asked what is the minimum time to complete the cybersecurity masters. And Christy answered it in the chat. The cybersecurity is 30 credits long. Does anyone have any other questions?
Can I, yes. The 30 credit can be completed in approximately 1.5 years. It can be completed a little bit longer than 1.5 years. And we have seen students that have completed it in less than 1.5 years. It depends on how much time you have. If you're working full time and at the same time are taking courses with us, it will take you a little bit longer time.
Is the program offered online?
The program,
yeah, go ahead.
The program can be taken online. That is to say, every semester we offer a group of courses that can be taken remote. But we do have, our courses are, many of the courses are face-to-face. That is to say, they are on site to take advantage of our laboratories and our, research equipment, which are considerably important. If, somebody can attend, it's a great idea to come and take some of those courses face-to-face. But we can, you can take the 30 credits online.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions? We appreciate all the questions coming in the chat. Oh, we have one more from Glory. Please, does one need to have an in-depth knowledge of multiple programming languages in order to excel in the cybersecurity program?
No. You actually could be, there are people who are doing the MBA and they are doing cybersecurity program with it. No, there's no need for, unless you want to stay and want to implement some of these processes using different Python languages, all that one. No, for doing MS in cybersecurity, you really don't have any requirements for any languages. And Professor Lakawa, do you want to add to it, please?
Yes, I would like to add to this. It would be desirable that you learn some of the programming languages through your master's degree. But you don't require to have programming skills as coming to the program. But it would be desirable, very desirable. And you will be given the opportunity, yes, to learn, especially Python and some of the most important languages in cybersecurity.
We have another question. What service are large financial institutions most likely to hire a cyber firm for? Pen testing, regulatory audits? Do you have any ideas on this front?
So this is, no, this is, besides the regulatory, you have to provide services. If you have any applications support, if you are providing in-house applications, and that's nothing but technology. And over a period of what is new today, 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road, is not going to be new anymore. As this software becomes legacy, as you find vulnerabilities into it, you have to tap into them, you have to address them. So anytime you have application support, you have to have somebody monitoring it and looking into it. If there's any vulnerabilities coming, and tap them into it. So yeah, there's a lot of things over and above the regulatory and pen testing in there. You need to constantly be, somebody needs to be constantly monitoring risks, looking into it, where the holes are, where the weaknesses are, and need to address them right. So anytime you have an application support team, anytime you have a technology function, incident management, you gotta have the cyber program part of it.
We have a couple more minutes. If anybody has any other questions, please feel free. I'll give it another second. I don't want to end before we've answered everyone's questions. What is the main difference between the MBA and the MS in cybersecurity? Which would you recommend for someone who is looking to be a part of the FBI cybersecurity sector?
So I'll answer part of it, and then I'm going to ask Professor Lakawa to jump in. So MS will provide you, MS's focuses purely technology and all aspects of it, and how do you address cyber with respect to each of those from technical point of view. MBA provides you the business end of it. If you want to be into administration, if you want to be into the management team, if you want to be dealing with the senior management in there and be the front end and managing this function, you probably MBA with MS in cyber would probably behoove would make a lot more sense in there. Professor Lakawa, do you want to add to it, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a point that if you want to go to the FBI, remember you have a limit of age there that people always tend to forget. Yeah, they will not hire you in entry positions unless you are younger than a certain age. That's something that people forget. And by the time that you have finished your undergraduate and you may have worked a few years, you're coming close, very close to that age. I would say that for something in the FBI, I would go for the master in cybersecurity. The MBA in cybersecurity is, as Professor Kalia has indicated, is far more in the direction of business. So it's a business degree with a component that allows you to interface with cybersecurity, and does it very well.
What service? Oh, wait, that's a different question. It's just a comment from Ron in the chat. I just want to say, as someone who went through the program, I did not need programming knowledge. But as Dr. LaCava said, I recently started learning Python and Linux, and it is extremely helpful. Lots of InfoSec tools use Python and run through Linux.
Yeah, well said.
True. Yeah. Ron got bit by the bug of Python and Linux, so he understands.
We have a couple more minutes to take questions. If anybody has any last questions, please feel free to let us know before we conclude the event for the day.
I just want to add something, and just on the back of your head, just imagine that Colonial Pipeline, it's relatively a small company, was shut down for 2 weeks, and because their billing system was hacked. Can you just imagine if JP Morgan or a huge bank was hacked and they were shut down for 2 weeks? Can you just imagine where would the whole world be? The liquidity in the market, $6 trillion passing through every day. If that's shut down, if I could just give a comparison, I have 5 gallons of blood in my body, and that same blood is being circulated in my body with my heart every second of the way. Banks do the same thing. They move the money around throughout the day, all 7/24. Just imagine if financial sector was shut down, what will happen? By same token, if my heart stops for a second, what will happen? Same thing. So financial sector and cybersecurity are really intertwined, and more than ever before, it's becoming that cybersecurity, banking, financial sector needs to be on top of it. I just thought I add that one because people probably understand better how critical this function is for the banking sector.
We have one more question asking what is the deadline for the fall? I can answer that. In reality, we're on a rolling admissions basis, so there is no definitive deadline, but we do suggest that all domestic students get their applications in at least 2 weeks prior to the start of the term so that there's no delay in access to your student accounts and course materials if you were admitted into the program.
Very good.
You're welcome. The questions keep coming in, so I'll wait another minute. And if we don't have any other questions, we'll let you guys get back to your regularly scheduled programs. Alrighty. Since there are no additional questions, Suman, would you mind just stopping sharing your screen now?
Pardon me?
Just
Oh,
end the sharing of your screen, please.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Done.
Alrighty, so we have one more question. Where can I find information for tuition? I actually will be sending everyone emails, but the program is $11.77 per credit for the MS in cybersecurity. Again, I will be following up with emails for everyone with any crucial information that you need to know before you apply. It'll include links to the application, the cost of tuition, and contact information on how to reach everyone at the Office of Graduate Admission, as well as our program director, Dr. LaCava. So when you receive those emails, please feel free to reply with any additional questions that come up. We're here to help you and facilitate the application process as much as we can. So with that, I'll conclude for the day, as we want to be conscious of everyone's time. We appreciate everyone who joined us for today and your very thoughtful questions. We look forward to receiving applications from those of you who have not applied just yet. We hope that the program has piqued your interest. I'd like to thank Dr. LaCava and Dr. Kalia for joining us today. This was a very interesting presentation for even myself, who's not necessarily tech savvy. So I hope it was interesting for you all as well. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you again for joining us.